I'm Tarot Oracle, and this is Astrology Made Easy, where we oversimplify basic astrology and give you memory cues and memory techniques to easily remember all of this stuff forever. So, no more trying to burn your brain trying to figure out all this stuff. You just memorize it easy. So, like an after school special for astrology. So, today we are whispering because it's 3 a.m. I'm working quite a bit today. So, yeah, we're going low tech. So, too many work hours means low tech. So, as you can see in the last episode, we started out with ourself, and we're doing houses. Started out with ourself, we sort of rolled around the map, and on the other end of the map, we got to the boring work and co-workers and sort of this negative sixth house over here. Now, we did forget to put in kids right here under creativity, expression, and kids and casual sex. Casual sex and kids. So in the fifth house, as you know, we started out at birth. And then we learned that some things are ours, our own possessions, our own money. We learned to have that we have siblings. We learned to sort of communicate with other people. We also learned that we have a home and we have an influential parent. So we have sort of that one parent, maybe both parents, you know, the parents basically in the fourth house. And this is sort of the low point at our development as well. This is the private area. This is sort of the low section down here where it's the most private. Then we went to creativity and expression. We learned to express ourselves. We learned to get on stage. 5 is live. And then we learned what casual sex is, right? Sort of figured out what that thing was for. But that thing's down there sort of hanging around. Well, what's that for? Then we figured it out. And then it's also the house of children in many things, especially some of the older Hellenistic astrology and things like this. This is the primary house of children. So don't forget that we have casual sex and whoops, kids. So the sixth house is 6 is carrying bricks. It's that day-to-day work. It's that work that we sort of have to do, and it's involved with coworkers as well. So the big foam, number 1, the taking a number 2 on our possessions. We have the siblings, we have the family, we have the 5 is live, we have the 6 is bricks, etc. You get it. You get the general idea from the last thing. So now we're sort of up on top. Now we're expressing ourselves into the outside world at this point, and we're going 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. So now we're sort of wandering around over here, and we sort of now engaged within the outside world. And the 10th is sort of special because that's the midhaven. That's where your brightest shine is going to be. So we're going to start out with the 7th house, and I have a cutting-edge technology stick figure drawing, which is odd because I'm actually really good at painting, so whatever. It's kind of weird. So let's start with the 7th house. So the 7th house, we've learned about casual sex down here. We've learned what that thing was and what to do with it. And now we're sort of doing it with one person special. That's right. The 7th is all about relationships and marriage and getting that special person in our life. An easy way to remember this is getting married up here, falling in love and getting married and getting that special person. And 7th is heaven. 7, heaven. Easy to remember. It rhymes. I think there was a TV show, 7th Heaven. Oh, but then like the main character in the TV show was under investigation for some bad things. So yeah, let's not watch that show. Just remember, 7 rhymes with heaven. And now we have this love and marriage. Go ahead and write marriage. Maybe not marriage, maybe our significant partner. So here we learned that we need to, or we'd like to, spend a lot of time with that special person. We learn to make that connection. and to make and to learn to be that person that's going to be a special person for someone else, right? So it's not just about getting hitched or getting married. It's about finding the special person and having that experience of that deep emotional bond, that deep emotional love. But it's also about getting the commitment side of this as well. So marriage is not just a relationship; it's a legal agreement, actually. But yeah, marriage is a sort of a commitment, and we have to adjust ourselves, or not be our sort of our selfish self that we had here. We have to get out from beneath this private sector down here and start going public. And our first public announcement that we're going to make is that we're getting married. So over here, we'll go marriage. So it's our special person, that special connection, that commitment that we really didn't make during the casual sex section. When we were 5 and live, we're figuring out who we are, we're expressing ourselves and all this stuff. Then we did all the work. Now it's time to get married. We're growing up quickly, and we're getting into this outside external section right here where we're exposed to the daylight. Down here, not so much. Nighttime. Up here, we're exposed to the daylight. So it's an interesting experience here, because now we get to get all the stuff we learned down here and use it towards other people, or use it out in a social situation. So again, 7, heaven, and 7 is all about marriage, because you're in heaven when you first get married, and that's all the wonderful things we have about that. All right, so the next house is going to be the house traditionally known as death. So this is death, taxes, other people's money. This is an easy way to remember it. This is about death, taxes, and other people's money. So what is the 8th house? Well, so now that we're growing up, we've learned to do the work, we've learned to express ourselves. Now we've learned to make a commitment to some other special person that we love, and now we're in heaven, the 7th heaven, well, 7th heaven. Now we sort of get to experience for the first time death, right? Someone we know dies, or grandma resumes room temperature. We just kind of get that experience of someone dying, or learning about death, or having that experience of death. And that's never a good experience, but it's definitely something that we need to learn at some point. So we learn about death, and we learn about other people's money as well via inheritance. And this is sort of the house of inheritance as well. And a lot of astrology readings that you'll see will have your possessions, your two possessions, your money will be linked over here to death, taxes, and other people's money. Now I want to stress other people's money. This is definitely not your money. Your money is here in the 2nd house. Other people's money is over here. All right. So an easy way to remember this, again with the high-tech art, is 8 is hate. You hate the tax man. You hate that tax man. So 8 is hate, death, taxes, and other people's money. So I want you to imagine you see a dead guy on the street. Let me draw the street. You see a dead guy on the street, and there's a tax man, and the tax man is taking the guy's wallet. He's like, "You owe taxes. You didn't pay it before you died." And so he's grabbing this dude's wallet from out of his pocket, and he's got his wallet, and he's taking all the money out of it. So I want you to imagine a tax man taking the dead man's money. So it's death, taxes, and other people's money. It's not his money. He's taking that money. So the tax man is heisting the wallet of the dead guy. So that is the tax man taking the money. 8 is hate. You hate that tax man. Nobody likes the tax man. Does anybody really like the tax man? Like, raise your hand if you like the tax man. You're the only one. Maybe because you're a tax man. I don't know. So nobody likes the tax man. He's taking other people's money. He's taking the dead guy's money too. Death, taxes, other people's money. 8 is hate the tax man. Easy way to remember it. So again, 7th, heaven, getting married. And 8, hate that tax man because he's taking the dead guy's other people's money. All right. So we have 7 and 8. So now we're sort of experiencing the outside world. We're getting close to the bright, sunny 10 in career, but before we do that, we're on number 9. Number 9 is all about finding my pen. Here we go. It's all about religion and travel. So 9 is about religion and travel. It's got a few other meanings as well, but for the most part, it's about religion or travel. So this is where you go to worship. This is what you believe, your firm beliefs, all right? So you have firm beliefs about religion and then traveling maybe to another country, maybe down the street, you never know, but it's definitely traveling around. So an easy way to remember 9, we're going out on a limb here, this is going to be crazy, but so 9 is travel and religion. An easy way to remember it is you're driving to church, and I want you to imagine Adolf Hitler standing in the middle of the road. I told you we're getting weird. Imagine Adolf Hitler standing in the middle of the road yelling 9, which is German for no. 9 is German for no. And he's holding out his hand. He's like, no. He's telling you to stop. He doesn't want you to go to your place of worship, your church or your mosque or your synagogue or whatever. He doesn't want you to go to your place of worship. He's yelling 9. Why? Because he's Adolf Hitler and he's meanie. So yeah, on Wikipedia it said he was a meanie. So I'm going to assume he was a meanie. And yelling 9 for no doesn't want you to go to your place of worship. He's stopping you. So you slam on your brakes. You start honking. You're like, dude, get out of the way. Going to my place of worship. And he's like, I don't care. 9. No, you're not going. So 9, German word for no, is about traveling to your place of worship, your religion. Travel, religion, and 9, no, don't go, stop. That's bad, don't go there. So how do we mix this in with planets? So you remember Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of communication and learning. So we have Mercury. So what if we have Mercury in here in marriage? Well, now we have Mercury over here. So let's draw Mercury. Oops, wrong side. So let's draw Mercury. We have, what if we have Mercury inside, that's Mercury by the way, it looks like Venus but it's got little horns. So what if we have Mercury inside of marriage? So it's about communication with our partner, or it's about learning about marriage. Part of marriage and part of a commitment is sort of learning to adjust, right? Making mistakes, learning to be worthy of having a partner, learning to be reliable, and learning to be that partner that everybody wants, right? So part of the Mercury being in here is not only communication with your lover, but also learning to be a good lover, or learning to enjoy it, or learning all the ropes or all the techniques that you need to make a marriage successful, right? So what if we have Mercury inside of death, taxes, and other people's money? Have Mercury comes into death, taxes, and other people's money. Well, we could be talking about communication about your inheritance. Could be talking about communication about death, or communication about some other thing associated with this. So if you had a deceased person in your family, you need to communicate about it. Maybe you have taxes, you need to communicate something about taxes, or communication about your tax form that you sent last year, or some type of communication is there as well. And of course other people's money. So it is sort of a negative house. 8 is hate. It's a negative house. It's not the best house to be chilling out in, but you could be learning about death, or you could be learning about taxes, or getting an inheritance, or you could be learning about an inheritance, someone else's inheritance. So you could have that combination when you stuff Mercury into death, taxes, and other people's money. So what about this as well? Could have Mercury within here. So if we have Mercury in here, Mercury is about communication and learning. Could be about communication about religion. It could be some news about your religion, or it could be a desire to learn about your religion, right? A lot of religions are really cool. I studied religions for a while. Religions are amazingly cool. Like some of the stuff that you learn is not dull at all. It's just amazing, and you're just like excited about it. Some of religions are really exciting. Some of the stuff that they teach and all this other stuff is just incredible. So you could want to be learning about religion. It could be something that brings you joy. I love learning about religions. It brings you joy. It could be something that you really, really enjoy. And it could be communication as well. You could be communicating with your God. You could be communicating with other people about your religion. Most religions are very social. You'll go to a place of worship and you'll be social, and these will be some of your best friends because they're part of your religion. Etc. So it could be communication about travel. Maybe you made travel plans and you need to communicate about the travel plans, or communicate with someone that you're going to travel. Maybe you forgot to tell someone you're traveling. Or it could be learning. Communication and learning could be learning about travel as well. You could be learning about some destination that you need to go to. You could have important news about your destination, important news about your trip. So if you mix those, you could have that as well. So let's go to the 10th house. Now the 10th house is the magic house. It's the midheaven. It's where you're going to be shined upon. It's your most visible place. That could be good if you have some good stuff, but it could be bad if something bad happens in here and it's really visible. At work, when you make that big mistake and like all these senior managers see you and you're like, oh, so you just want to like crawl into your desk and you're just like, oh my God, that was so terrible. Very visible house. What is the 10th? The 10th is all about being a winner. 10 is win. 10 is win. It's about your career, which is the most people quote your career. But it's also about your legacy, how you're remembered. Not only your career, but your legacy. So let's say, you're remembered as this great scientist, or you're remembered, of course, that mixes with your career, but sometimes you could be remembered as like a marathon runner. You're running a marathon. You're this greatest marathon runner ever. Is that your career? No, but it is your legacy. You could go down in history as one of the greatest marathon runners ever. So I want you to imagine that you're running this marathon. All these people are cheering for you. Like, yeah, go, you're going to make it. And you're running and you break that ribbon, and the winner ribbon, and the sun is shining on you because it's the midheaven. The sun is shining all over on you. And it's all about win. 10 is win. Your career, how you're remembered. All right? So very important house. Always quoted as career. So obviously, if you have Mercury hanging out over here, I should draw Mercury as red. Mercury is, there you go, Mercury is red now. Somebody's going to complain. All right. This is an oversimplification, by the way. Mercury, all about communication and learning about your career. What if you need some more certificates at work, right? You work to where you're sort of a STEM field, or you work to where you need certificates to survive, or training to survive. Could be training at work. Could be learning about certificates. You could be working towards a certificate. Could be that focused on that. You could be learning about a new career. You could have communication about your career. Maybe somebody's calling you. They have a hot job. This is the job you've always wanted. Mercury hanging out, a positive aspect of Mercury, and the 10 is win. It could be career. It could be your legacy as well. You could have some communication. You could be learning about the thing that you want to be your legacy. So learning, career, legacy. 10 is win. Imagine yourself breaking through that winning ribbon. Everybody's cheering for you. 10 is win. So the 10th, the midheaven. all about, we're going to do it in red because it's so special. Love this house, man. Obviously, this is a positive house. Your career and your legacy is the brightest point. It's the point you're going to get the most visibility. It's the point everybody's going to be watching you, which could be good or could be bad. All right, this 11th house, 10 is win, 9 is Adolf Hitler yelling, 9, don't go to your worship place. 8 is hate tax man, 7 heaven. And the 11th is 7-Eleven. In case you've never been to a 7-Eleven, it looks like this. This is an old school, it's still around, but it maintained, the most popular time for this by far was like the 80s. So it's a grocery store or a food chain or sort of a, gas station. It's a gas station, convenience store called 7-Eleven. I wanted you to see it. Let me move that picture to something else. Okay. So I wanted you to see the 7-Eleven. And that's where you're going to be hanging out with your friends, because the 11th is about friends and your social circle. And easy way to remember is the gas station. 7-Eleven, you're meeting your friends at 7-Eleven. You're all going to meet there. You're going to have one of the nasty hot dogs that they serve. No offense to 7-Eleven, don't sue me. So one of the delectable and delicious hot dogs that you get at a gas station. So you're going to 7-Eleven, meeting your friends. It's about friends and social circle. You're hanging out at the gas station because that's where you hang out. It's like Jay and Silent Bob. So you're hanging out at the 7-Eleven. You're meeting your friends and social circle. 7-Eleven, easy to remember. Just remember that picture of the 7-Eleven. We're going to go back to orange here. And go friends, social circle. Now a lot of this bleeds over from your career, right? Because your coworkers are sort of here, but your career, the people that you meet, sort of bleed over into here too. They become your friends and they become your social circle. A lot of work friends become your social circle, right? Because you're working 12 hours a day like me. And your friends and social circle. So the 7-Eleven, easy to remember. 7, heaven. 8, hate the tax man. 9, don't go travel to your religious place. 10 is win. That's your shining point, your career, your legacy. 7-Eleven is your friends and your social circle. So the 12th house, I have nothing to remember this by. It's actually quite confusing when I read about it. The more books I read, the more confusing it becomes. This is the trash dumpster of the rest of here. It's not death. You remember we're doing the circle of life. From here all the way, circle of life, all the way to the 12th. It's not death. Death was 8, hate the tax man, okay? This is sort of death. In some Hellenistic things, this is also death. So this is a negative house. This is a negative house. So the 12th is sort of a negative house as well. It's very esoteric. It's about what's left. It's the house of karma. Most places I've seen call it karma. Very esoteric, very ethereal house in the 12th. Not quite a definition of the 12th. It's not heaven. It's not the afterlife. It's sort of a mix. It's sort of the trash dumpster of everything that you couldn't put in here. It's what comes about at the end of all of this. So this is a circle of life. At the very end of the circle of life, what happens to you? Not death, but what happens to you in a karma, on a spiritual level, on a karmic level. What happens to you? What becomes of the rest of you? What's the result? What's the finish line of from here all the way to here? What did you become? What did you earn? Was your thing sort of good, bad, indifferent? What sort of things are left over? So that is sort of the 12th house. Again, it's very ethereal. And if you get sort of an ethereal planet like Pluto, for example, and you jam it in here, you get sort of a double whammy weird thing. But overall, there's nothing really to remember here. This is the leftover trash dump of the rest of the houses. This is where things sort of finalize. This is where things sort of break apart. So if you get the Rubik's Cube and you just start breaking pieces off, it's 3 a.m. by the way. It's not 3:30 a.m. So you start breaking these pieces off this cube. Okay, so if you break the cube into pieces, what do you have, right? It's the leftovers. It's what's left of the rest of the houses. So that's the 12th house. I don't have anything easy to remember. That's the only one with no cute memorization thing. It's what's left, and it's hard to define. There's so many different definitions of it, but it's definitely known as the house of karma. But I have no cute things to remember it by, I'm sorry, but I have cute things for the rest of them. So that is the end of the houses lesson. Again, this is a gross oversimplification, but you'll definitely remember it. You'll remember breaking that winning barrier. You know, you remember the 7-Eleven, hanging out with your buddies. You remember the tax man stealing that money. You'll remember Hitler telling you don't go to your place of worship, and you'll remember getting married. You remember 5 is lives, 6 is bricks, right? The big I'm number 1, the big foam finger, taking a dump on your money, taking a number 2 on your, you remember all of this stuff. It's all easy stuff. So I want to thank all of my Patreon subscribers. We have quite a few now. Thank you so much. They give me $5 a month and assist me in making these videos. So Allie Cat, Annie Lamaster, Crystal McGinn, Gary Fink, Hot Chocolate. You can be any name you want on there, which is cool. Janet Littler, KSW, La Ami, Richard Zeh, Scott Miller, Shintaro Kuga, Thomas Garcia, and Trina Ioverio, Trina Ioverio, I believe. So that is it. Please hit like and subscribe if you like this video. In the next video, we're going to be learning about planets. I know this looks terrible, but I'm going to make this so easy to memorize. We have a farting crab. Yes, a farting crab, a bull in a library. We have all sorts of fun images. And next week is going to be easier at work. I'm going to be back on the computer. I'm going to make you some cool images for all this stuff. I know this looks intimidating, but this is going to be so easy to learn, you're never going to forget it. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you for putting up with my low tech. And it is now almost 4 a.m. And in 1 hour, I'm going to start my 15-hour shift. Yay! So see you next time.